Okay, so I've been having a little bit of an old man yells at cloud time of things recently, as I try to explain to the younger generations of Australians, particularly, that every arcade stick feels loose to me. And no one really listens to me when I say that. They're just like, oh, well, try getting one of the Saimetsus with a spring, and I've got that in my arcade cabinet. And these are by no means bad sticks, but they still fucking feel loose to me. And so, my lovely assistant Amber has fetched up this stick to see what I mean. So this is a fairly common stick that you might get. That's how much it moves. Donk, donk. That's a fair distance. That's what's called throw in the technical terminology. So the space between neutral, the space between the edge is the throw. Now the activation point, where the function actually occurs, will usually be before the extremity. There are probably sticks that do the opposite. None that I can think off the top of my head. Because the idea is you want it to, you want activation to be reasonably quick. And, that feels quite loose to me. Even though this is a fairly stiff modern stick. And I finally got a hold of something that allows me to prove that to you fucking youngins. And it is a legitimate, genuine, probably 30-year-old MCA Australia stick. Now this is what I grew up on. This was built to withstand pub chuds and various forms of immortan and other, lunatic wasteland barons that, would sometimes stumble into the cities to play video games. And this is legit and old. Like, I haven't opened it, I haven't cleaned it. You can still see, like, the original really hot fucking, whatever that shit is. The goo that they use.
Solder?
Solder, that's it. I couldn't remember the word. So I've got to take that off.
Solder for our American.
The switches still work, which is great. I have no idea what MCA stands for. I'm just going to assume it stands for, like, mate, cunt, asshole.
I thought it was multi-purpose clicker assembly.
You might be right. I have no honest clue. But now we're going to demonstrate why every stick feels like flaccid compared to this classic Australian stiffy, because this works still as well as it did back when it was fresh. Here's the throw of the MCA. Look at that! So if you can hear the little... That's the distance between neutral and activation, is that. And then that much further is the distance between activation and end. This is the most it will ever move. This is a precision tool. This is like playing a video game with a piece of Stonehenge, but incredibly responsive. This was what I grew up on. This was what, probably to be honest, made learning the Hadoukens in the early days really, really fucking hard, because there was no leeway either in the games or in the controls themselves. But to my mind, this, when I complain about I let go of a stick and it wobbles and jiggles about, like some weird nude crackhead galloping down the street. This is what I mean. I can let go of this stick. There's no wobble there. It clicks back to neutral. There's no counter click. I don't have to worry about accidentally getting dash because I am fucking expecting my stick to return to central. That's it. On, off. There's no extra fucking fiddling about. This is how I want sticks. I'm not saying I want all sticks, but I do wish there was something I could go out and buy fresh that was exactly fucking this.
At least the option,
Yeah, because, as I have said to fucking 20-year-olds for like a while now, all sticks are loose to me. And this prime example of vintage Australian fucking craftsmanship is exactly why.
You got to understand, we're lunatics. We look into every little small solution possible to find a thing for this. Like, that's the thing. Gabriel had to buy the old part. Think about that. He has literally tried every solution under the sun you can think of.
Extra springs.
Like...
Apparently, recently, there's been a development in terms of, like, Korean Tekken. Because Tekken has quite specific mobility approaches. And that differs it from like a normal 2D fighting game. And they use sticks that have rubber grommets and sticks that are very firm as well. The thing is, getting like concrete data on precisely because they're designed for Tekken and designed for like being able to fucking I don't know wave dash out of a knee cancel or whatever fucking baffling bullshit they do. Some of the highly specialized designs that they use for that aren't great for 2D fighters.
Yeah.
2D games in general. And that's what I'm using it for, by and large. I'll sometimes play like Tekken 3 on the cabinet and stuff like that, but that's about it. So I do think that there is out there probably some combination of stick and grommet that would get me. So a grommet is, instead of a spring as the return thing, is a little like rubber hole.
Yeah.
Like the bum hole of a real doll, effectively.
I think that's why the dog in Wallace and Gromit was called Gromit, because he had a very tight hole.
So you're going to go for his made of plasticine or something, but okay.
Babe,
I'll
are
take
you
your word for
okay?
that.
You've hardly touched your... What was it? Wallace and Gromit? Oh, yes.
So I think maybe there is, there's probably something out there I could possibly get something back to this. But every time I picture an arcade stick, this exact design, this little ball, this shaft, this thing. I mean, the only problem is none of these are designed to be mounted into like MDF. Really, these were built to be,
I say we just wire it to your brain.
drilled. I mean, there might be some side effects to be drilled into like.
No, but think about it. You could probably do Hadokens. It'd be worth it.
I mean, if I could do that, yeah.
Like, imagine
I
that.
I don't want to have to do like a motion on the stick though. Like, where's it gonna go? Am I gonna mount like a control panel to my chest like Darth?
I mean, it's worth it if you can throw Hadokens.
I mean, yeah, but like, am I able to throw like? Because the problem I always had with that is like,
So
if
this
it's
is
on my chest, that's for other people to play with.
This is how it works. You get to do 1/12 of the stick, and that stores one Hadoken. You can have one Hadoken stored at any time, and then you can just do the motion and you'll throw it. But you can only have one stored and only use one at a time. So every time you want to do another one, you've got to do this motion on the stick.
I mean, if I could, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a comfortable place to mount that. Because I still think like here is going to be a bit uncomfortable.
Well, it doesn't have to be fully attached to you at all times. So you could
okay.
store it and then,
Yeah, well, that's fine. That's okay. Provided I've got like, provided I don't have to have this sticking out of me constantly.
No.
So I haven't wired it up yet. I got a second one as well. It's got a bit of a sticky switch, so I might have to actually, replace a part of it.
Oh, not a sweet, not a sticky sweetie.
Yeah. Oh, you got a case of sticky switty. Gotta learn some classic Australian slang, sticky switty. It's just.
My grandma had the notorious sticky sweetie.
Real bad case. You can see some of them, but like the fact that again, this is, a legitimate old. This will probably be, I mean, at minimum 20 years old. These started vanishing in the 90s. You start getting the Sega Astros getting around.
Yeah.
And, I'm not sure when MCA went out of business or stopped making these particularly.
They probably ran out of Soviet parts.
I mean, it's possible as well. I mean, again, it will have been, the situation will have been, like just the shift in arcades.
Yeah, yeah. 100%.
So once we start getting like, DDR machines and, more of that taking over, these parts will have been more specialty. Correct. And then once places are like mass producing like, Astro style cabinets and just different style sticks, these, I don't think these were ever even really the style of stick.
The problem is when you
Australia.
do get that mass production is you do lose quality, because then obviously being mass produced, you can get parts a lot easier. But then here we are 20 years down the line, and then where are the parts?
I just can't get, again, there might be some permutation of weird fucking K stick.
Maybe we can 3D print one.
Oh yeah, but I've been close, but I'm not going to buy a 3D printer until I know a one that is very good for sort of my skill and
usage. Do you want to
usage.
build a claw machine with me that people can control over the internet? Because I think that's batshit fun. Like, can you imagine that? And the egg just rolls out, and then it's just a piece of paper that says "fuck you." or something.
Oh, I got fuck you again.
I owe you one fortune cookie.
I owe you one claw machine prize. So I'm going to. I do have soldering stuff at home, and I have actually used it. It's one of the weird side effects of the fucking pills, is I've gotten like better at mechanical, like hands-on things. So I'll probably desolder this and just give it a little bit of a test run with a
See,
spare
every time I look at you, I just like
encoder I've got.
I click on you and I see your skill tree is a bit further down. You've been working your skill tree.
I've got my pills. And then I have to figure out a way to fucking mount it. Because the problem is like, there were ones designed for wood mount, and they're basically like this, but they got this like really long, like just this extra fucking horizontal bit of fucking tube. These were designed for a 2mm fucking hole, and fuck all is these days.
No.
And like mine, particularly because it's MDF, it's like this fucking thick. And the thing is, because it's MDF, you can get MDF down to 2mm, and then you have 2mm MDF, which is not fucking strong. So I don't know. I'll probably have to put a little bit of thought into it, and put a layer of fucking, or use a different, there are little brackets you can get that come down and sort of go out, so you can have it mounted to a thicker piece while having the thinness of it there to.
Love me some thicker piece.
I did walk around to that one, but yeah. So yeah, that was I brought it over like again. You'll notice the filth on it, and that's important because that's the sign of being nearly 40 years old. And yeah, this is legit, and I hope one day the Koreans can get something, close to this, because, a little bit like the CRT situation, I would like there to be a modern solution of some description, because I just do feel that, particularly with the CRTs, the parts are gone. There's a lifespan on that. I feel like the parts in this are all, the same thing. These are the same switches you'll see in like pretty much any other arcade stick today. Just yeah, nothing this, aggressive. Like I love the idea of any normal person these days, like getting my housemate or something to try playing a fucking fighting game with this, because it'll be that great moment of just like, you lived like this. It's like, yeah, I was like 5, and going like.
Yeah.
Fucking this built strength, damn it.
I remember them being at hotels a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
again, they were the default, like, for a long fucking time.
playing Metal Slug on that thing fucking sucked. It was heinous because it was just so stiff.
Builds character and powerful wrist muscles.
Oh yeah, God, yeah.
Yeah, look at that. Oh,
I
so
blame my death grip on my leg penis on that bitch. It's that thing's fault.
Just had a stroke.
They said that games.
So
said games would be my downfall. Yeah. They were right.
So I'll probably, there's a little bit of plastic, but again, for something this old, it is in excellent condition. So I'll probably just tweak it and fiddle a little bit, and then hopefully get a little bit of an update once I've got it closer to being hooked up, or at least in some state testable. Because I would like it attached to something. I'll wire it up and get it in hand just to see if any of the switches need replacing. But I mean, that's a beautiful singing voice. I really don't think it's going to need much tinkering at all. But yeah, this is the MCA Australia stick, the classic Australian stiffy. And as far as I'm concerned, this is the fucking stick.